Oh, music, music, music. I love it. It's inspiring. And that song right there means that you are into another episode of The Gracious Guest Show. And I'm your host, Mike Creevy, your tour guide through all sorts of different topics. Things, stuff, interesting things that are places where you can find wonder, find deeper meaning, find a little bit more than maybe you bargained for at first. And that's a good thing, because sometimes the humdrum of our daily lives, in the midst of all of that, it's very easy for us to lose track of the bigger, sort of deeper meaning of our lives and just kind of think that, hey, is this all there is? Is this just, just another day, right? In fact, I think there was a, years ago, I forget what it was. I don't know if it was Stephen Colbert, might have been his, maybe the Colbert Report, where he had a joke thing about their morning show, supposedly, called Yet Another Day. And it's like, that really kind of captures the attitude we have sometimes. Like, here we go again. And I'm reminded of the great, venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen back in the 50s and 60s, who had a talk he gave once where he said that there's two types of people in the world. Those who wake up and say, "Good morning, God," and those who wake up and say, "Good God morning." So, if you don't want to be so much that second type, even if you're not, religious or sort of spiritually minded person yourself, I'm not getting into that just now. Just, if you kind of think your day is just, boring, drab existence, I want to encourage you to take a deeper look. And that's really what this show is all about. So I explore movies, I explore books, book reviews, movie reviews. I do, and sometimes I'll just kind of explore them at a different kind of level and look at some of the stuff that I at least kind of glean from it that might have sort of deeper meaning or a whole new layer that maybe we didn't notice before. And sometimes it's just sharing about fun stuff going on in life. And today we're going to talk about music a little bit, and I'm going to have some fun with that, I think, with you guys. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. But before we do that, I want to introduce a new segment where we cut over to our very own gracious guest, field correspondent, my daughter Noelle. And Noelle is a little under a year at the time of this recording, but she's pretty awesome, and she really likes to go out into the field and sort of see what's going on in the real world. And I have a segment, the first in many to come, no doubt. So let's go see what's going on with our field correspondent, Noelle. Check it out. Noelle, what have you discovered about this chair? Okay, what else? Okay. Okay. It does seem to be a pretty good rocking chair. Do you know the brand? She's testing it out right now. She's just pushing the chair back and forth. What do you think about this chair? Is it pretty good? Okay. You're bouncing. Okay. I'm not sure where it's from. Okay. Well, but what do you think this is good for rocking babies to sleep? Okay. How does the cushion taste? Does the cushion taste? I'm not really a chair connoisseur. Does the cushion? Oh, I see. So it helps you identify how many threads are in the cushion? Okay. Right. That seems pretty interesting. Okay. Well, I didn't know that. We learn something every day here. Right? Okay. Yeah, I understand that. But there's other ways to check out the... there's other ways to check out the sort of inner workings of this chair without sticking your hand, in it. Because that could injure you, don't you think? Hadn't thought of that, had you? Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say about this chair before we go? Anything at all? No, she just seems to want to... Okay, well, this is yet another interview with Noelle Creevy, where it ends with her just sort of crawling away from the interview and heading off to something extremely dangerous, which is a large lamp right now. But she's dancing the whole time. So, hey, thank you so much, Noelle, for this interview. Can you say bye-bye? Can you say bye-bye? She's waving. Well, that's that. They can't see it, but I'll tell them that you waved bye-bye. Okay, that's Noelle saying bye-bye, and that's going to do it for our check-in with our field correspondent for the Gracious Guest Show this time. Well, I'll tell you, she is years ahead of the game here. She's very inquisitive. She is very interested in what makes that chair work. So, anyways, let's jump into the main topic here today, which of course is all about karaoke, and this is indeed the Karaoke Chronicles, as I've called it. And there's just something about singing, and I don't know if any of you guys, like some of you, I'm sure are into singing. Some of you enjoy it. Some of you couldn't be caught dead singing, and that's fine. But we all know the often misquoted quote that you hear all the time if you work anywhere in the typically in the kind of Catholic world, whatever that might be. You'll hear people point out, that St. Augustine supposedly said, "He who sings prays twice." But that's not really what he said. What he said was basically that he who sings well sings twice. Or, I'm sorry, he who sings well prays twice. So, there's a little bit of a critique maybe within that. And if you don't think you're a good singer, if you're not really a good singer, hey, no hard feelings. That's no big deal. But, there's something about the experience of singing, whether or not you're really good at it, that just is a sort of a rich and dynamic and, important, I think, human experience where, music in general it enables us to basically communicate in a way that we can't really any other way. There's just something about how it brings so many different aspects of our being together. That it's vocal, it's something I'm speaking out loud, but it's also that, it's tonal, it's musical, it takes it to a whole new pitch, of meaning and depth and richness and expression. And it's artistic, right? It's basically a form of art. And, we're captivated by it. There's just something about when you hear a really beautiful song, especially if it's a person singing it, something about the human voice that's just totally different than any kind of instrument, as amazing as it may be, and how captivating it can really be, and it's basically just something that's been very important in my life, ever since I was a little kid, and I've always just kind of, I guess, liked singing. My family's pretty musical, and we'd sing in all the normal places, basically sing in church, sing in choir and stuff at school. It starts off with being a little kid being forced to play a kazoo and sing like It's a Small World After All, or what was the other one, like Yankee Doodle, and all these things that they take you when you're 5 years old and throw you up on a stage and make you perform in front of adults. It's kind of like, I don't know when that started. I feel like that had to at least have gone back to like ancient Egypt or something. So I think it's sort of a common human experience. But at any rate, at some point, I actually just kind of discovered that I had seemingly a talent for singing. I think I do. I think I really I enjoy it, but I also I take it seriously. I try to become better. I try to practice. I sing a lot in the car, which is one of the only places I get to do it anymore, on the way to work or whatever, or just, sometimes it helps you express certain emotions. Sometimes it's just fun. It takes off, some steam a little bit, or lets you sort of blow off some steam, or it can be nostalgic. It's a song that maybe you liked when you were a kid. It can be a lullaby. So I sing to my daughter Noelle, our field correspondent from earlier. And, there's any numbers of ways in which, arenas, different atmospheres in which it comes up, So it kind of depends on where I'm at, I guess, in terms of, what it really means to me. But one area in particular that really became significant for my friends and I, probably about, well, not quite 10 years maybe, but, 8 or 9 years ago, really, was karaoke. And it was a time when, we were sort of out of college or at the end of college, and, whenever we'd go to hang out, there were just a lot of places around that we kind of got accustomed to going where, we could go and get a drink and go and sing, and there's other people there doing that. And it was partly about the relationships, because we actually had a lot of very amazing conversations with people that you might be surprised that kind of conversation would happen at a karaoke bar, at like midnight or 2 in the morning as you're outside, getting ready to leave, and someone comes up to you and they liked the song you sang earlier, and you start talking about that, and then you talk about other stuff, you talk about life, you find out this person's went through a rough divorce and their kids don't talk to them anymore, and we're about their kids' age, and it's just nice to see us, and it's just you'd hear sad stories, you'd hear happy stories, and every time we went out, which was not weekly, but sometimes it was every week, so for many, I'd say probably good 4 or 5 years there, we were pretty regularly going to 2 or 3 different karaoke spots, and sometimes we go to other ones further away. And what's really cool and what kind of set us apart, I think, from at least every time we were out, and I'm not saying no one else does this, but, my brother and my cousin and then, my other brother, when he got a little older and could come out with us, we would go, just sort of an arrangement of about a half a dozen of us. So anywhere, usually 3 or 4 or 5 of us at a time. Sometimes one couldn't make it, and we'd kind of reshuffle the order a little bit on certain songs. But we would pick out a lot of group songs. And as we got to know this one DJ in particular named Mike, who's a good friend of ours now, and if you're ever in the York area, he still pops in there from time to time, but he also was the DJ at my wedding, at our wedding reception, and then my cousin Jim, his wedding reception as well. And Mike is just awesome, and he had a background in music and kind of in comedy and stuff. He's a performer, and was kind of doing this as sort of like a retirement kind of gig there, would be there a couple nights a week. So we would go in there, and anytime we set foot in the place practically, and this was specifically, if you're, I don't know, I haven't been there in a long time because I've been at State College for a few years now, but the Hop along Route 30, at the intersection of 83 and 30 in York, Pennsylvania. So if you're ever in there, check it out. And other places, went to Zemby's sometimes in Harrisburg. I don't even know if that's still around, but yeah, like I said, I've been up in the State College area now for 4 years, so I'm kind of out of the karaoke scene back in South Central Pennsylvania. But we got a group together, as I said, with my friends and I, and we called the group Riding Grogan, and there's a whole story behind that, but it's too long to sort of share now. But we got known as like this karaoke group, and we would walk in, and people, after a while, we'd walk in, and the whole bar, and there'd sometimes be 30 people there or so. Everyone would just start going nuts and so excited to see us there. These guys are great, because we'd go up and we'd sing, like I said, songs with 3, 4, sometimes 5 parts, depending on how many of us were there. And sometimes, Mike, or whoever the DJ was at the bar we were at, if they could find tracks, because sometimes tracks, have a lot of the background vocal parts in them. But after a while, if we could get just instrumental tracks with no vocal parts, after they got to know us better, so that we could all just do all of the parts together, it was just a lot of fun, and usually something people didn't expect, when you go to a new bar and go to a new karaoke joint or something. And so sometimes on vacation we would do it. We performed, I'll never forget, a couple of us, we just blew it out of the water. Bohemian Rhapsody, which was one of our favorites to do, with all sorts of parts in it, and that's just a bizarre song. Obviously, it really calls for that. So we performed that at this karaoke, huge karaoke bar down in Virginia, near I think it was near Virginia Beach. And so sometimes on vacation we find a place, sometimes at the shore, especially on vacation, when we would be out there together. And it was just a lot of fun. And I want to share, I have 2 clips here for you, just to give you a taste of this. And it's not the best quality, because sometimes it was off someone's cell phone or something like that. So I don't have the high quality stuff here. But first I want to just give you a little, quick little clips here, just a few seconds each, to give you a taste of what the karaoke abilities of Riding Grogan really were, and still are whenever we get together. So just to give you an idea of the atmosphere. So the first one here is just a clip from our one of our performances of one of our favorites, Dobie Gray's Drift Away. And I'll just play a little segment of that here for you now. This is at a I forget exactly where this place was. I want to say it was the VFW in Millersville or something. So it was kind of random. But we popped in there every now and then when my brother Joe and our friend Brian were out there at Millersville. So this is probably 2011 or 12, and this is just a quick little clip from Driftaway. Check it out. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Yeah, give me the beat, boys.
to free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
Yeah, and that was always a pretty popular one. Usually people like that one when you do that. And they tend to join in, and just it's kind of a nostalgic song, and pretty famous, pretty popular. The other one that we had never heard of before, we grew up, like I said, with a lot of different musical influences and interests, and a lot of different genres, and we were always fans of the Eagles. And somehow though we had never heard the song Seven Bridges Road, which is an incredible song, and if you've never heard it, you should go listen to the whole thing for sure, right after you listen to this episode of The Gracious Guest Show. So for now, though, I'll just give you a little taste here of near the end of Seven Bridges Road, when it goes basically just a cappella at one point. And this is a fan favorite that we get asked to sing probably more than anything else. That people that know us really always enjoy hearing it. And so much so that we performed it at my wedding reception. I was sick that day, so I couldn't really sing it, but I kind of just falsettoed a little bit in the background, and it turned out okay. But this was actually a repeat performance the next year. This is September 2016 at my cousin Jim's wedding. Jim and Megan, when they got married, and at the reception, by popular demand, we got the members of Riding Grogan up there. So this is 5 of us, myself, Jim, the groom, our friend Brian, my brother Joe, and our good friend Tim Lawver, who is the original lineup of Riding Grogan. So the same guys from the last clip you heard, more recently, and this is us on the a cappella part here at the end of Seven Bridges Road. Let's check that out.
In the southern sky, and if ever you decide you should go, there is a taste of time, sweet and funny, down the Seven Bridges Road.
All right, and it was well received, and we really enjoyed it. So why do I bring all this up? Why am I doing a Gracious Guest episode on karaoke? Is it to brag about karaoke? No, it's not. Although I am, of course, very happy with and proud of what we've done in the past, and just this talent that we have. It's a lot of fun, and it is something that is just an enjoyable experience in and of itself. It feels good to get up there and sing well and have people like it, and have people tell you did well and everything. That's great, but I really honestly truly believe that there's something more to it. People might tell me I'm nuts for looking to this level in terms of karaoke, but I really think it's a fun venue to bring people together, and to bring a little joy maybe to somebody who hasn't had a lot of joy lately. And that's like I was saying earlier, and that's really what it comes down to, because I'm telling you guys, dozens of conversations, more maybe, over those years, late at night, in a bar, right, that would oftentimes, honest to God, I'm not even joking, would lead to a spiritual discussion. So, I mean, my brother at the time was getting ready to go into seminary. I had been in seminary, and I was working as a youth director. So all this time we're doing this, going to these bars and sometimes a half hour, an hour away late at night to go sing karaoke songs and have some beers and hang out with people. I really honestly, I'd be lying if I said I went there for, it was like a missionary field or something like that for me. I went there to sing and have fun, and that was really the reason we went. But you would run into all sorts of different kinds of people, people who were sometimes down on their luck, sometimes people who were, maybe away from their faith for a long time and had faced a lot of struggles and some really bad stuff, and, abuse even sometimes, or, just rejection, or not really being able to find their way, and just people very, very lonely. and then sometimes people who are just there just to have fun and, pretty happy, So you'd meet a lot of different people in a lot of different, parts of walks of life, different experiences and that sort of thing. Some who could sing and some who really couldn't. And what's funny is the ones who couldn't sing, like the people, like, they would never make district choir or something like that, if you're just being factual, right? They did not have a talent necessarily for singing. You know what? Get up there and belt it out and have fun, Like this, you're the star right now, and to get up on that stage, and that's really the fun draw of karaoke, right? Is it's just a free sort of low consequence kind of environment when it comes to musical performance. It's low risk, and you might be embarrassed, you might be scared. Your friends throw you out there and hand you a microphone, and you're shaking, and you start to sing a song, and then you're embarrassed, and you go and sit down, and you think you did terribly, but everyone claps and says you did well. It's just a genuine environment of joy. And people being kind most of the time, not always, of course, but some, you run into it pretty frequently of just sometimes complete strangers just being kind to you. And quite frankly, guys, I don't think we really have enough of that right now, right, in our world. I mean, there's so much criticism and so much negativity and so much everybody's looking, at the splinter in each other's eye and ignoring the beam in their own when, how about we get together and sing some songs, right? Just have some fun and do it in a, in a responsible way. Now, again, not everyone at every karaoke bar we went to was always being responsible, per se, of course. And as anywhere you go, you need to keep an eye out for what's going on around you. But as I say, the Karaoke Chronicles, this was something I really wanted to share with you all today, and just kind of give you a little taste of it. Encourage you, if you ever want to go sing, let me know, because I'll go with you. We got to go out and got to pick some songs out. I've got some. What's fun is we would do a lot of group stuff, and then we'd all have our favorite solo pieces too. And sometimes they could get pretty interesting and weird. I had to retire "Kiss" by Prince after like 2 or 3 performances because I was doing it and I was doing it well, but it's kind of a weird song, and people that know that I even did it publicly sometimes are like, "Why would you ever do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the best choice." So. You flip through that book and you fill out the little slip of the song you want to sing, and every now and then you make a bad call, and people will let you know it, if it was just not the right pick for you. But if you haven't tried karaoke before, give it a shot. You might find a hidden talent. You might find some confidence that you didn't know was there, and you'll probably find some fun times with friends, and even some kindness from strangers from time to time. So, I'm Mike Creevy. This is the Gracious Guest Show. Thanks for tuning in today. Subscribe to the show, tell your friends about it, hit me up on the website, thegraciousguest.org. Over there, feel free to give me a positive iTunes review. Some of you guys have been doing that, and I really, really appreciate it, getting the word spread about the podcast. Check out the blog, everything I've got on my website. If you want to have me come and speak for your parish or church event or whatever too, I'm happy to do that. All that's over on thegraciousguest.org. I'm Mike Creevy, The Gracious Guest Show, and until next time, don't forget to wonder. Take care.